Following video is not made for kids. Viewer discretion is advised. Hello to my subscribers. This is the TFN Geek coming to you with a review that is long overdue. I know it's been a while since I did my last review. I apologize for being away for over a week, almost 2 weeks in fact. But without further delay, let's get down to my next Transformers review. And tonight I have got a special Transformers figure that I was hoping to add to my collection, and thanks to eBay I was able to get it earlier this month. So without further delay, here he is, Transformers Generations Legacy Velocitron Speedia 500 Walmart exclusive Leader Class as Robots in Disguise 2000 Universe Leader Class Scourge. What a mouthful that was to say. And it's not quite over yet, because the title of the video is no joke. It's not an identity crisis, ISIS, or a name, or trying to find difficulty with a name decision. So the reason why in the title of the video is the way it is because this figure / Transformers character, this guy has 3 different names that you can choose from to apply to him. So the name officially given to him on his box is the one that Hasbro gave him back in 2001, and even though on the box it says 2000 series, that's because the cartoon series that this figure was created for or aired in Japan in the year 2000, but it wasn't broadcast in an English dub until the following year in 2001 here in the United States. And so Scourge, the official name of this character, is the one that Hasbro gave him in 2001. However, when he was originally created in Japan, Takara Tomy gave him the name Black Convoy. And that's the name I'm going to refer to him throughout the rest of this review. However, the reason why this guy has a third name is because basically Scourge / Black Convoy, he is a mostly black and gray with teal and reddish pink highlights, a repaint of the Legacy Generation 2 Laser Leader Class Optimus Prime figure that we got in the Legacy line at mass retail in Wave 1. And in the original figure of this character was a repaint of the original Generation 2 version of this figure. So, because this guy is a mostly black and silver repaint of the Generation 2 laser version of Optimus Prime, a lot of Transformers fans and collectors have been referring to this guy as Nemesis Prime. And that's basically who this character is. He is the first version of Nemesis Prime before Hasbro and Takara Tomy created the name Nemesis Prime. So this is basically a prototype version of the character of Nemesis Prime that we know today. And in the minds of many Transformers fans and collectors, this has become the Generation 2 version of Nemesis Prime. And in the minds of Nemesis Prime fans, and in their minds, why should the repaint of the G2 Laser Optimus Prime figure be given a distinctive name? Why should he be known as Scourge or Black Convoy when it's basically Nemesis Prime? So yes, that's why there's 3 names in the title. There's 3 names in the title of the video. His official name is Scourge. His original name was Black Convoy, given to him by Takara Tomy. And in the minds of many Transformers fans and collectors, like all figures that are mostly black and gray repaints of an Optimus Prime figure, in the minds of most collectors, this guy is Nemesis Prime. I personally am not going to call this guy by the name on his box, which is Robots in Disguise Scourge. For me, the version of Scourge, if I can get my camera up, I don't know how you guys are going to be able to see him all the way up there. I should have just grabbed him down and taken him off the shelf, but right there, the figure I'm pointing at is Studio Series 86 Voyager Class Scourge, which is based off of Generation 1 Scourge. And so the Generation 1 character who served as Galvatron's second in command, the reformatted version of Thundercracker, that's the character that I call Scourge. So for the remainder of this video, I might intermittently go back and forth between calling this guy Black Convoy, his original Takara Tomy name, and his third name of G2 Nemesis Prime. So yes, as I personally find it fascinating that you can choose one of 3 names to apply to this guy. Now, one thing that makes this figure extra special is right here on the box. This is his faction symbol. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with it, what this is bring around the back of the box for a moment just so I can get a larger view of it on my camera. This is actually the Transformers Generation 2 Autobot logo. Unlike the Generation 1 Autobot logo, bringing Laser Prime back for a moment because he has it. The Generation 1 Autobot logo right here, this is based off of Generation 1 Prowl's head sculpt. While the Generation 2 Autobot logo pictured here on Black Convoy's box, the G2 Autobot logo is actually based off of Generation 1 Optimus Prime's face sculpt. And disappointingly, over the last few years in the Generations line, the handful of Autobot Transformers characters from the Generation 2 line, Legacy Laser Prime here included, for whatever reason, Hasbro and Takara Tomy have been using the Generation 1 Autobot logo instead of the Generation 2 Autobot logo pictured here upside down on this box. And I believe Black Convoy, he is the first Generation 2, he's the first Transformers action figure to have the G2 Autobot logo painted on him for the first time in, if I remember correctly, it's been, I believe, close to 10 years since the previous G2 Autobot, since we had a Generation 2 Autobot character have the G2 Autobot logo painted on them. I believe the previous figures that had the G2 Autobot logo on it, they might have been the Combiner Wars aerial bots. Let me see here for a second while I look it up. Trying to find an image of it on my computer. I apologize for taking so long to do this. Okay, I should have done this before to not make the video so long. So yeah, the previous Transformers Generation 2 Autobot action figures that actually had the G2 Autobot logo, the last ones before Legacy Scourge, Black Convoy, Nemesis Prime. Now, that's a bit of a mouthful to say all 3 names. I apologize. My OCD is preventing me from choosing one name to stick with for the rest of the review. But yeah, the G2 Generation 2 Combiner Wars aerial bots, which were released back in 2016, which was 6 years ago. Oh, if my math is correct. Yeah, my math is correct. It was 6 years ago. Those were the previous Generation 2 Transformers characters that actually had the G2 Autobot logo. The handful of Transformers characters who are Autobots from the Generation 2 line that have been released by Hasbro and Takara Tomy, they've been given the Generation 1 Autobot logo, and that's something a lot of Transformers fans and collectors have been disappointed in. Now, the reason why on Black Convoy's box the G2 Autobot logo is upside down and facing the wrong way has to do with the character's origin within fiction. So, this guy, here in the United States, he's from the original Transformers cartoon series called Robots in Disguise. In the years since this guy was released, there have been 2 Transformers cartoon series that have been called Robots in Disguise, and because there are now 2 series with the same name, Hasbro and Takara Tomy have to put the years that the 2 series were from on the box so fans don't get confused as to which of the 2 cartoons individual characters come from. But the original Robots in Disguise cartoon series, it was known as Car Robots in Japan, and because of the Robots in Disguise 2015 cartoon series, a lot of Transformers fans and collectors, myself included, now refer to the original series by its Japanese name of Car Robots, which is the main reason why I said earlier in the review a moment ago that I'm gonna probably refer to this guy by his original Takara Tomy name of Black Convoy. But in the Car Robots cartoon, when this guy came online and he was activated, he was actually a stolen Autobot protoform that had not yet been activated, and when Megatron ordered the protoform to scan a vehicle mode to take on on. The protoform ended up scanning a tanker truck that the car robots version of Optimus Prime was holding on to the moment it was being scanned. So when the tanker truck was scanned, Optimus Prime was scanned along with it. And even though the car robots version of Optimus Prime was not the G2 laser Optimus Prime version, the result was that Black Convoy ended up becoming an evil lookalike, an evil doppelganger of the car robots version of Optimus Prime, even though he was based off of G2 Optimus Prime's body. As far as actual physical similarities between the G2 laser version of Optimus Prime and car robots Optimus Prime, the only similarity I can think of off the top of my head is the similarities in the robot mode head sculpts, and also the similarities in having red as one of the main paint jobs. But I did enjoy that origin story for Black Convoy. Now, the reason why his faction symbol is an upside-down G2 Autobot logo instead of a Decepticon logo, I forgot to mention, officially this guy is known as a Decepticon. But the reason why he doesn't have the Decepticon logo and he has the G2 Autobot logo upside down is because towards the end of the Car Robots cartoon series, as Black Convoy tried to follow Megatron and then later Galvatron's orders, and he tried to defeat the Autobots, and he tried to be as evil as the Decepticons and the Predacons were. Black Convoy became conflicted with his own mind and his own conscience, and it was revealed that when he scanned the tanker truck Optimus Prime was holding onto for his vehicle mode, there was a human being driving the truck, trying to get away from the Predacons and the Decepticons. So when Black Convoy scanned the tanker truck and he also scanned Optimus Prime, he scanned the human driver behind the wheel of the tanker truck. And so in addition to Optimus Prime's body type, Black Convoy also downloaded human emotions that were in the mind, inside the brain of the human driver, inside the tanker truck. Basically, with that revelation, it was revealed that Black Convoy had downloaded human love inside his brain. And as a result of that, rather than being a true Decepticon, Black Convoy, or Scourge as he's officially known on the box, instead of being a true Decepticon, he's actually a corrupted Autobot. So, similar to Sentinel Prime from Transformers Dark of the Moon, this guy, rather than being a true Decepticon, he's actually an evil Autobot who is still an Autobot and has not declared himself a Decepticon. So yes, as far as I'm aware of, this guy's one of only a few Transformers that is basically an evil Autobot who is not a Decepticon and has the G2 Autobot logo on his body upside down. The others that I'm aware of, the only other characters that are like, excuse me for a moment there, that are like Black Convoy, that are evil Autobots that aren't actually true Decepticons, are the other Decepticons from the Car Robots cartoon, which are the Decepticon Combiner Team of the Commandos, I believe was their team name. They combined into the Decepticon Combiner. His name was Baldigus in Japan. He was renamed Ruination by Hasbro. So yes, Black Convoy along with Ruination are the only Decepticons who are like this, where they aren't true Decepticons, but rather they're evil Autobots. So it's an interesting take on that. For many Transformers fans and collectors, the G2 Autobot logo upside down, they've called Scourge and Ruination, the Commandos, a separate faction of Transformers figures. I personally have been calling Black Convoy in the 2 weeks that I've had him here in my room. I've called him a rogue because he's a rogue Autobot, not a actual Decepticon. So that's pretty much all the background history about this character. Now, one thing I do want to share with you guys before I actually go into Black Convoy himself. Elf. I had said a few weeks ago when I did a collection update video showing my most recent Transformers figures that I added to my collection at the time, that from almost day one, basically day two of my the years that I've been collecting Transformers action figures, this guy right here, Black Convoy, was one of the characters at the top of my list that I wanted to collect and add to my Transformers collection. And the reason why I've been collecting Transformers figures non-stop since the year 2003, starting with Transformers Armada. And the reason why I had said in that collection video, and why I'm saying it again here in Scourge / Black Convoy, aka Nemesis Primes, I'm full-on review here, is because of this right here. I did a video of this years ago while my channel was just starting. This is the Transformers, the Ultimate Guide. It's basically the first Transformers Ultimate Guidebook. It was written by Simon Furman, who for years worked on the official Transformers comic books, and it's basically a 101 history about the first year of the Transformers the first 20 years or so of the Transformers franchise. And I thought there was a photo in here on the pages dedicated to Robots in Disguise showing off Scourge, but I guess my memory made it up. But yeah, or was it a photo of G2 Laser Prime that I had in here? Let me see. I'm not quite finding it yet. Yeah, so okay, well, I'm not gonna go back and re-record the video, but I must have dreamed it, but I could have sworn there was a photo in that book showing off Black Convoy on the pages of that book. But yeah, ever since I found out about this guy, I've been wanting to add him to my Transformers collection. So without further delay, let's get on to Scourge himself. Now that we've covered all the background history and why I was super excited to add to my collection. So here we have the front of his box. We got a photograph of his vehicle mode, tanker truck, same thing as G2 Laser Prime. So if you have that figure, pretty much the only difference between this guy and that one is the paint job. Got an image here of his robot mode, which wraps around to the side of the box. And I love here on the artwork, even though the figure can't actually do it, he's actually firing the missile pods inside his shoulder towers, so that's pretty great. You got a photograph of the vehicle mode here on the top of the box. I'm really loving those teal racing stripes that are there on the hood of the truck. And of course you got same artwork of the truck here on the top of the box. He's part of the Velocitron Speedia 500 series collection series, which is Walmart exclusive here in the United States. It's on this side of the box. You got a close-up of that artwork, and of course you've got the Evil Matrix. Again, for fans who call this guy Nemesis Prime, that's the Matrix of Chaos there inside his chest. As I don't believe Scourge in the Car Robots or Robot series that he had a Matrix inside his chest when he scanned Optimus Prime. But it's been a while since I've watched Car Robots, the English dub. So I'm unfamiliar at the time of recording this review with all the gimmicks that Black Convoy possessed. So here on the back of the box, you got the official product photos, you got his vehicle mode, you got his robot mode. The trailer transforms into a battle platform. It also acts as a repair bay, air bay, and he transforms back and forth between robot mode and vehicle mode in 30 steps. And again, he's from the Robots in Disguise 2000 Universe series, and he's not a true Decepticon. He's actually just a corrupt Autobot. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the box. One minor gripe that I have is that and apparently I'm not the only one who's had this. There's been other collectors who found this. Apparently, when Walmart gets these figures in stock, when they go to open up the box and take the figures outside, some of the employees at Walmart are apparently cutting the box 2 down deep, and they're actually cutting into the box that the figure comes in itself. So on this side of Ida Black Convoy's box, there's a cut mark from a knife that was used when the figure was actually being released from the factory case at Walmart originally. So, but I think that imperfection works here on Black Convoy due to how evil he is. So without further delay, let's get him taken out of his box, and we'll take a close look at him in the mode that he's packaged in, which is his vehicle mode. Alright, and so before we actually get Black Convoy out of his packaging, here's what he looks like on the cardboard insert. Similar packaging to how the Legacy Laser Optimus Prime figure was packaged. You got him transfer into his vehicle mode. You got the truck facing this direction. You got the trailer facing this direction, and then there's his accessory pieces right up there. Just wanted to show that off in case you hadn't seen any images of what the inside of the box looks like with Black Convoy inside. So yeah, that's a pretty neat thing to say. So let's get him freed and take a close look at his vehicle mode. Alright, and so without further delay, here he is out of his box, and yeah, I am beyond thrilled to finally have a figure of Robots in Disguise Scourge / Car Robots Black Convoy, aka Generation 2 Nemesis Prime, in my Transformers collection. And yeah, I really enjoy the paint job that this figure has in vehicle mode. So if you have the Legacy Laser Prime figure already, then this figure is a straight up repaint of it, just like the original figures were back in the 2001/1993, which is when Laser Prime and Black Convoy were each released in their respective active series. So, out of the box, there's one part of the transformation that is not complete. These two flaps right here were folded right here in that spot, and that's where they're supposed to be in robot mode instead of vehicle mode. Another thing out of the box is that the top of the cab wasn't completely folded down, and so that's something else to be aware of when you take this figure out of the packaging for the first time. But yeah, I cannot get over the paint job that this figure has, as it's almost entirely black everywhere, and then you've got these teal like racing pinstripes here on the side of the hood, and then on the top of the hood you've got teal there on the headlights on top of the roof, and then you've got the same teal pin racing stripes here on the above the rear wheels. And then one thing I really like about this figure is that the entire front bumper and grille section is done in this very shiny silver paint job. Same shiny silver that's on the trailer. I'll get to that in just a second. And then of course you've got dark gray here on the fuel tanks, bright silver used here on the smokestacks. And then for the windows, they're made out of clear pink plastic. And one nice thing about all the windows is that the frames of the windows are done in the same teal paint job used on the racing stripes, so that really helps to contrast the windows and bring them out. Unlike Laser Prime, who had an Autobot logo on his door, from what I can tell, there's no faction symbols on Black Convoy when he's in his vehicle mode. The only faction symbols he has are these ones right here, which end up on his robot mode shoulders. Again, they're the G2 Autobot logo facing upside down. That's what they look like when they're right side up. The G2 Autobot logo is based off of Generation 1 Optimus Prime's face sculpt. But yeah, I am just really enjoyed to finally have a figure of this guy in my Transformers collection. There have been a handful of figures based off of Black Convoy that Takara Tomy released as exclusives in Japan. Over the past few years, I tried to get some of those figures, but they were always out of price range for me, so I'm really glad that Hasbro finally released a new figure of this character here in the United States, even though it is a Walmart exclusive. And again, here's the trailer setting the tractor cab off to the side for a second. So here's a close-up of the trailer. It's very similar to Laser Prime's. It's done almost entirely black and a dark gunmetal gray here on the bottom. The one part of the trailer that's silver are the sides of the trailer, and unlike Laser Prime, who I'll bring out in a moment, where the fuel lines were painted red, it's the same metallic silver used on here. And the reason why Black Convoy has these very bright silver paint used on the front grille section and here on the tanker trailer, that's because on the original figure that was released back in 2001, these parts that are silver here on the Legacy figure, they were actually silver chrome on the original figure that was a repaint of the G2 Laser Optimus Prime figure. So I guess chrome paint is far too expensive for Hasbro and Takara to apply on modern day Transformers figures, so the closest they could do to mimic chrome was to have a very bright shade of silver paint used here on the sides. Right after I got this figure I was almost tempted to purchase off of Amazon some chrome paint pens just to see if I could chrome up the trailer here on Scourge, but then I figured it looks good enough with the silver paint on it. But yes, I'm just thrilled overall with the paint job that this figure came out with, and apologize for my huge fingers being in the way. But yeah, really nice. The trailer does rotate well on this figure, just like it does with the Laser Prime figure, but if you do rotate it too far, the corner of the trailer will get stuck inside the robot mode arms as it did there a moment ago. But yeah, overall, I'm just very thrilled and excited to finally have a figure of Black Convoy in my collection. Alright, and for a quick size comparison, we will bring out Scourge, and for a quick size comparison, here he is next to his mold mate of Legacy Generation 2 Laser Optimus Prime. Get them facing the same direction. So yeah, just like the original figures, Black Convoy, aka Scourge, aka Nemesis Prime, he's a straight up repaint of the Laser Prime figure. The only difference between these two is the paint jobs. You do have the same gimmick with the trailers. If you want to keep the trailers detached from the figures, you can deploy the trailer stand so it can stand upright. So here's a close-up of the two tractor cabs beside each other. One thing I do like is that whereas on Laser Prime, the parts of him that are black, it's actually a very dark charcoal gray, whereas on Black Convoy, it's a solid black. You can see it here on the roof of the truck cab, and then here are the legs on the backs of the figures. So yeah, charcoal gray, charcoal black on Laser Prime, and solid black on Scourge / Black Convoy. So yeah, I really enjoy that difference between the paint, that difference use of different colored black plastic used on these figures. And of course, if you want to, you can switch out the trailers between the two of them, since they are straight up repaints of each other. So if you want to, you can give Scourge the trailer that's made out of the darker gray, and Laser Prime with the brighter metallic silver. It makes him look slightly more like Generation 1 Optimus Prime, having that silver trailer there. So that's pretty nice seeing these two figures standing beside each other. And for a quick fun size comparison, here is a Black Convoy, aka Scourge, next to the Netflix Nemesis Prime figure. The reason why I don't have his trailer attached is because I gave it to another Transformers figure, but yeah, here is Generation 2 Nemesis Prime next to Generation 1 Nemesis Prime. This is one of the reasons why a lot of fans and collectors call this guy Nemesis Prime. This is basically the first version of Nemesis Prime that didn't have the name Nemesis Prime given to him because the name didn't exist yet. is yet Nemesis Prime wasn't introduced properly until the Transformers Armada series in 2002. But yeah, I do enjoy seeing these guys standing beside each other. And the figure I gave the trailer to, which is this figure right here. This is the Amazon exclusive, the alternate universe or dead Optimus Prime figure. I use this figure as Earthrise Nemesis Prime. So here's the Generation 2 Nemesis Prime next to the Generation 1 Earth Mode Nemesis Prime. And yes, it's pretty impressive seeing the Generation 1 and Generation 2 figures standing beside each other. And even though it can be a bit of a snug fit, there's just barely enough clearance space because this figure is a retool of this figure right here. If you want to, you can swap the trailers out here if you want, so you can have a Black Convoy towing the cargo trailer, while you can have Nemesis Prime towing the tanker trailer. There isn't as much clearance space with the tanker trailer on the Generation 1 tractor cab versus the cargo trailer on the Generation 2 tractor cab, because there's less of a gap here between the back of the cab section and the two and the trailer hitch. It's the same thing with the Siege version of Nemesis Prime. It's an even tighter fit on the Siege figure with the tanker trailer here on the back. Turning it is almost non-existent. You're going to get 1, maybe 2 millimeters at most of rotation. On that trailer. With the Earth mode, tractor cab, G1 tractor cab, you do get a slightly more rotation, and of course you do get a lot of rotation with the G1 trailer on the G2 tractor cab. I think you might get slightly more rotation on this trailer with this tractor cab than the ones that they're officially packed with. But yeah, there's some vehicle mode size comparisons. So without further delay, let's get this figure transformed, armed into Robot mode, and wrap up the review. Alright, and so here is Black Convoy out of his box. Here he is holding his weapon. Same exact one that came with Laser Prime, and oh man, I cannot get over the paint job used on him. I love how there's more teal highlights here. Here in the robot mode, he's got teal stripes on his helmet, teal stripes here on the robot mode chest, even down here on his knee pads. There's the upside down G2 Autobot logos on shoulders. Weapons blocking that shoulder from view. So yeah, there's the two upside down G2 Autobot logos on there. You can open up the shoulder towers, and there's the missile pods inside. Unlike Laser Prime, whose missile pods are made out of blue plastic, here on Black Convoy they're made out of pink plastic. I think they were trying to go for like a purplish red, which is why they went with pink on the parts of him that are supposed to be done in red. And you can decide what you feel about that if you want. One thing to note about the figure is that the back of his helmet is done in clear pink plastic, just like the pink plastic used on the rest of him, so he does have light piping. I apologize I don't have a flashlight handy right now just to show off the glow. Oh, here, I have my cell phone. Let me see if that would work. Shining my cell phone to there. Not really. Oh yeah, I have a really big flashlight here, but I just turned it on in my face. It's a little, it glows yellow, but yeah, if you have a bright enough light, there's you have a bright enough flashlight to shine on the back of his head. There's whoops, sorry about that, glow right there. But yeah, the light piping does work very effectively on this guy. So I've seen some reviews already where another figure in the Legacy line, who's from the Generation 2 universe, Deluxe Class Road Rocket, who I'm pointing to back there, has light piping on. She has light piping on her head sculpt too, and so it's nice to see the G2 figures having a light piping on the back of the heads as That's a tribute to the fact that Transformers Generation 2 was the line of Transformers action figures that introduced the gimmick of having light-piped plastic on the backs of the heads that allows you, if you have a flashlight, you can shine it through and make the eyes glowing and make it look as though the Transformers figure is alive. So I really love that fact that even though this guy is from the Car Robot series, since he's a repaint of Generation 2 Optimus Prime, just like proper Generation 2 Transformers characters, he has light piping as that little tribute to the legacy, yes, pun intended, of the legacy of Transformers Generation 2 is that it was the line of Transformers that introduced the gimmick of light piping. So, if you have a Legacy Laser Prime, the articulation on this figure is pretty much the same as Laser Prime. One thing to note is that the shoulder joints right here on the arms, I don't know if this is just because it's fresh out of the box, but unlike Laser Prime where the shoulders were swivel joints, there's a click on there, so it feels like there's one ratchet on the arms, and unfortunately, the click on both arms, it's at a different angle on both of them, so that's pretty upsetting to see that. He does come in that, so he's got arms can go forward and backwards a bit. You got swivel joints in the bicep. You got hinge joints in the elbows. You got wrist swivels due to how you have to tuck the hands away due to transformation. The head is on a ball joint, so it can rotate left and right 360 degrees. It can look up and down ever so slightly, but it's, I think, just 1 centimeter at the most. You have a waist articulation, so the top of the figure can rotate left and right 360 degrees. If you get the arms out of the way, you can spread the legs out that far at the hips, so you got universal jointed hips. Legs can go backward that far, they can go forward that far. Our swivel joint, got swivel joint in the upper part of the thigh, but it's a little limited due to the angle of the joint. You got very loose ratchet jointed jointed knees. The knees, you have ankle rockers, so you can get the figure into a sprawl-legged pose if you desire. And due to transformation, the toes and the heel spurs can fold downward if you want to make it look like he's having to climb over rough terrain, if you want to see that happen. But yeah, overall, I do enjoy the paint job I'm given here on Black Convoy. I love of that the parts of him that the black paint, the parts in black paint match up the parts done in black plastic, and I think the pink and teal and the gunmetal gray highlights really break up the figure a lot. One thing to note is that the center of the robot mode chest, the reason why it looks so glossy is because, yes, the entire robot mode chest is black paint, and the plastic itself is the same clear pink plastic used on the rest of the windows. So there's his matrix. I believe that's the Matrix of Chaos, for those of you who call this guy Nemesis Prime. I mean, that's the matrix that Nemesis Prime wields. So yeah, there's the Matrix of Chaos. It's I don't know if you caught a glimpse of that, but the core of the matrix here on Black Convoy, it's done entirely in pink while the frame is silver. So that's pretty nice to see. And yes, he does come with the exact same weapons as Laser Prime. You got the sword weapon right here, and then you've got what is officially a double-bladed axe weapon, but due to the fact that it's oval-shaped, almost circle-shaped, a lot of Transformers fans and collectors joked with Laser Prime that even though it's supposed to officially be a double-bladed axe, due to the way the blades are shaped, it looks more like a pizza cutter than anything else, and I am unfortunately inclined to agree. And so, for a size comparison in robot mode, here is Black Convoy next to Laser Prime. As you can see, the main difference between these two guys is the different paint jobs, whereas Laser Prime is mostly red, blue, silver, and black with some yellow highlights. Black Convoy is almost entirely black with pink, teal, and gunmetal gray highlights. And if you want to just further distinguish them from each other, you can have them holding the weapons in different hands if you desire. So yeah, there's a Black Convoy Scourge Nemesis Prime next to the figure that he's mold mates with of G2 Laser Prime. For some size comparisons with some other Transformers figures, here he is next to Netflix or Siege Nemesis Prime, as I call him, with all his weapons. So yeah, you guys decide. Let me know in the comment section if you want to call this guy Nemesis Prime just like this guy. So yeah, There's Nemesis Prime in his Generation 1 body and his Generation 2 body. And I love the fact that even with without the shoulder towers, that the two robots are the same height. I know they're the same height. This is the Siege mold. I believe the Siege mold is almost entirely separate mold from the Earthrise mold that the Legacy figures retooled from. And speaking of Earthrise, here is a Scourge next to the Amazon exclusive alternate universe or dead Optimus Prime. I use this figure as Earthrise Nemesis Prime, so that's why he's holding one of Nemesis Prime's swords. So yeah, there he is next to the Earthrise body type. And here are all of the Nemesis Primes standing beside each other. I believe the lower legs are the only part on the Siege mold that were used here again on the Earthrise and Legacy G2 versions of the mold. All the other parts are different from that. But yeah, switching these guys around a bit. So going in this direction, here is how the Voyager / Leader class Nemesis Prime figures from the War for Cybertron trilogy, and now in the Legacy line, how the action figures have been altered to allow different versions of these characters from different series to be. And here he is next to his trailer transformed into the repair station / battle station. It's a lot less impressive than the original Generation 2 trailer transformed into, but it is accurate to how it looked. And yeah, I'm really thrilled for able to have this thing here. And one thing you can do if you are inclined to do so, is you can take the so if you want to, you can put the you can put the battle tower here in the back, attach it to the 5mm post on the back of him, and you can have him do an impression of Beast Wars Scorponok if you're inclined to have him armored up like that. Every part of the trailer is held together by a 5mm peg. The one part that's not is this shield piece right here that's held on by a clip instead of a peg. But yes, there's sculpted detailing here on the figure. There's 2 sets of connection pegs. So there's these 8-shaped ones right here, and then there's these double clip-on pegs right here. So if you have 2 versions of the swords and the axes, you can store them on both sides of the trailer if you're inclined to do so. Setting Scourge off to the side for a second. For a size comparison, here's his trailer battle station next to Laser Prime's. Again, the main difference is the paint job. Since the towers are both done in black plastic, they're the parts that look almost the same, but as I said, with the rest of the trailer, I don't know how well my camera's going to pick it up, but with Scourge, the black plastic is solid black plastic, whereas on Laser Prime, it's actually a very dark charcoal black plastic color. So that's interesting to see there. The repair arm / taser gun, as I like to call it, it's gray on Scourge, it's red on Laser Prime, and then again, the inside of the trailer on Scourge itself is actually a darker shade of gunmetal gray, where it's light gray on Laser Prime's battle station. So it's nice to see the subtle differences in paint jobs there. And for one last size comparison in robot mode, here is Scourge from the Robots in Disguise 2000 series / Car Robot series next to Generation 1 Scourge. So I apologize for not bringing out this guy in vehicle mode, but this is why I find it difficult calling this guy Scourge, because this character right here to me is Scourge, the Generation 1 version. That's why I'm probably going to call this guy by his Japanese name of Black Convoy, but I might apply the name Nemesis Prime to him just because I really have a lot of emotional attachment to Nemesis Prime. But yeah, there's a size comparison in robot mode with Generation 1 Scourge. And for one last size comparison, since I didn't do it on the table, here he is next to Legacy Laser Prime. So for my final thoughts, do I recommend you get the Legacy Velocitron Robots in Disguise Scourge figure and add it to your Transformers collection? Absolutely I do. Even if you have Laser Prime, I do recommend you get this figure. You do definitely get your money's worth, what with his impressive robot mode, plus the trailer transforming into a battle station. You cannot go wrong having this guy in your Transformers collection. I really enjoy the paint job used on him. I love the fact that his faction symbols are upside down G2 Autobot logos rather than actual Decepticon logos. And one last thing to note is that one of the reasons why a lot of collectors who are more who are fans not only of Nemesis Prime but of the Car Robots cartoon series, they've pointed out that the paint job used here, especially on the robot mode chest, it doesn't match up the paint job that Scourge/Black Convoy had, and so that's one reason why a lot of fans and collectors are calling this guy the G2 version of Nemesis Prime, because his paint job is much similar to Nemesis Prime than the paint job that he had in the Car Robots TV series. So yes, I do recommend you get this figure if you can, and even if you have Legacy Laser 2 G2 Optimus Prime. This is a fun repaint to have. This is one of the repaints that I feel is a necessity to have in your Transformers collection. You definitely get your money's worth with Legacy Scourge. And I love the fact that you have 3 names to choose from to apply to this character. Scourge, Black Convoy, and Nemesis Prime. Take your pick of those 3 names that you desire. So thank you guys all so much. This has been the TFN Geek. This has been my review of Legacy E-Car Robot Scourge, aka Black Convoy, aka G2 Nemesis Prime. And until next time, you guys, stay safe, stay healthy, transform and roll out. Goodbye, everyone.